Shall we all bow our head? Father, we come to you, we come again as humble, sincere, obedient, Lord, as we know how. Lord, wanting to be a servant of yours, wanting to be a servant to the community of Cedar Bluff and the people. Give us wisdom, Lord, to do the right thing, say the right thing. Give us backbone, God, for us to do what we know is right and not say things or do things to benefit ourselves, but to benefit the community. Father, we praise you, we thank you. In Jesus' sweet humble name. Amen.
Amen. Say the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I want to welcome all our guests tonight. Miss Singleton. See you pulling flowers out here the other day. Need you at my house. Pulling weeds. I need you right there.
Yeah.
John, you all right?
Yeah.
Who did the plane? We got Hendrick, we got John. Page through.
Yes.
Hey.
Approval of the agenda. Have a motion.
I make the motion.
Ken, do you have a second? I'm sorry. Getting ready to say, turn your phones off. That's the owner. That's the owner. That's the owner. What do you do? Who seconded? All in favor? Nay. Approval of the previous minutes, July 14, 2020 meeting. Do you have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Jerry, do you have a second?
I second.
Kenny? All in favor? Nays? Okay, did everybody have a chance to look at the bills? Are there any questions, I guess I should say?
Everything's broke down different this time. That's
Yeah.
the first time I've ever seen that. The way it's
Well, you know, like,
different departments, is that the way that, I
yeah,
think that's the way you told it.
because some employees get paid out of the 10 fund and the 20 fund. And that's the first time I was able to find that format on the new system, so I figured that would be more detailed, that, you know, if you had any questions, I could answer.
Okay, any more questions? Do I have a motion, payment of the bills?
I make the motion.
Second? Johnny? All in favor? Nays? And if you don't mind, I'm gonna go to the scheduled speakers, but if it's okay, Richard has a meeting he has to go to, so I'm gonna swing him up here first. You come on up.
It's Richard Brown, 2122 Cancer Ridge Road, Cedar Bluff.
2122?
Yes, sir. It does have Cedar Bluff address, but I live in town Richlands. The reason I wanted to come tonight and speak, of course, you know, with COVID, everything has changed regarding the school system. I don't know if everybody's had the opportunity to look at the schedule, but basically, the majority of the staff and the students are going to be done at 1:30 during the day, which is going to put a lot more traffic in that area right there at the school. I approached Chief Brown, I guess, 3 months ago, maybe a little longer than that, regarding the crosswalk there at Taco Bell where it had faded out, and, you know, offered to see what we could do to assist him with getting that crosswalk replaced before school kicked back off in August. I saw when I came through town earlier in the week, and if you come from Richlands to Cedar Bluff, you have a crosswalk that's been painted down below Dollar General, or right in that area.
Right.
But the crosswalk sign is still all the way up next to Taco Bell.
So
you
right
got-
there at the car wash on?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
so there's no signage saying that there's a crosswalk ahead.
Right.
That is going to be a problem, and it's my understanding there were supposed to be 2 crosswalks painted, one there and one.
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on with that, if you don't mind?
But you guys were supposed to do that when
If
they
you don't
fix the
mind,
sidewalk. Go ahead.
when the day you talked to me, was it last week? I put in a work order for us. I put in a work order VDOT, and it was crazy. I was coming in tonight, my email come through, so that's why I spoke out. I went and spoke. He said that they might have just missed Cause he said we should have 2 freshly painted crosswalks. Do we have those?
We've only got the one.
Okay.
One registered.
So then when he told me it was new, he said what they'll do is they'll probably just go ahead and come back and do two new ones.
Okay.
But probably what would help, you let me know if you wanna meet in the morning, we'll meet down there, you show me where exactly you want them, where we'll put them.
We can, I've got some running to do, but we can take care of that first.
Yeah, just whenever, you holler at me and
Okay.
say, this is where we want them, cause I put it in a work order, that's the best way to get a hold of them.
Yeah.
And he hit me up pretty quick, but it was tonight, I didn't expect it tonight.
Yeah.
I got that part.
Oh, yeah, okay. The code, basically says, the Code of Virginia states, you have to yield to a pedestrian when they're in the crosswalk.
Right.
I don't know how Cedar Bluff does it as far as making charges, but if you're standing on the sidewalk, you're not technically in the crosswalk. Am I correct, Mr. Carmen? So that's the importance of having those very well marked. The issue that's going to happen is we have so many different time frames with kids this year. It's going to be released. The drivers at the high school is going to leave at 1 o'clock. The walkers are going to leave like sometime between 1 and 1:15, and then the buses are going to run at a different time, and the pickups are going to run at a different time, and there's going to be numerous trips from the same bus because of the restrictions with the 6 foot on the bus. I mean, you have several buses that Mr. Stevenson can tell you standing room only, so I'm sure that it's going to take probably an hour and a half to 2 hours to get these kids from school home. Regarding I guess what my question is what kind of assurances are we going to have with, which I know you guys are going to be busy here with your school as far as getting the crossing work? Is it going to continue to be worked by Mr. Stevenson the way it has been in the past, or we'll have?
I didn't know anything was changing.
It's on the agenda tonight.
Well, I saw that when it said crossing guard. That's
Right,
reason.
right.
And I didn't come here to speak about that.
Right.
No, he actually came from VDOT.
Right. There was a couple, council members that mentioned to me maybe that you all have, 3, school resource officers? Maybe to see if you all could do that. I did call Tim Miller today and reach out to him, but he didn't call me back. And, so with that being said, I mean, they was wanting to kick it around and just see, even ask would the county be interested in doing that. I told them it's highly unlikely for the county to do that, just because, I think they had maybe one school resource officer over there at one time. And,
Yes. Yeah.
and it's all Richlands. Yeah, I don't think they would want to take the responsibility for directing
Is
traffic.
there any reason y'all don't help?
There is a lot.
I'm really confused about it, because
Okay.
I always thought we did it because we got like funds from the schools.
No, we don't.
No, this is how it happened. When Richlands annexed or
Did a boundary
the
adjustment.
boundary adjustment
Right.
through the board of supervisors, I don't know if Mr. Asher was on there at the time or not, but part of the agreement for the county to allow Richlands to adjust the boundaries and take the schools in was we would provide security for those schools.
Okay.
This was a process that's taken a while because at one time we had Stan Lampert who was doing all 3 schools, and then we got other people involved, and I retired, we got a grant, and I'm at 1 school, and now we got an additional grant which allows us to have all 3. The reason that, we do have a mutual aid agreement with the town of Cedar Bluff with different things, and they've been great helping us, and, anytime that we've needed them. Several years ago when Officer Lampert was with Richlands, there was some issues with getting buses out, and actually he received a letter. I was a lieutenant there at the police department at the time. He received a letter from Jim McLaughlin stating that he would be charged with trespassing if he ever directed traffic in the town of Cedar Bluff again.
Wow.
So that's the reason, and Mike and him have asked us in the past when they've been busy, and we've tried to work it around there, but I don't, being a member of the council and
Right.
affiliated with the school, I'd love to help. There's no guarantee that every day that I can go out and do that.
I got you.
That's the problem.
Right.
There has to be a dedicated person
I agree.
every day, because, especially at the high school level, because, there's fights, there's.
I agree.
So, there's no guarantee, and that's the thing about with mutual aid, I guess.
Right.
We will help if we can.
Right. But I know it's vital because when I was in high school, if you remember, Lee, Joel Bowling was pulling out there and got T-boned, got her hip broke. Remember?
But I did speak to Mr.
So,
Harvey just now, he said that They did tell y'all not to do it.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess that's why we got Terry.
And I don't know the details of that,
Right,
why or
right.
whatever, but I mean, like I said, my major concern was coming before you guys tonight was to ask about the crossing themselves, and if any way that we can help as far as the town of Richlands is concerned.
Right.
You know, they have many, I don't know if you saw in different places, they have these markers that you set in the lanes that flash, and I mean, you know, if it's an issue with funds or whatever, we just need some signage in the crosswalks there, because I think they're gonna be used quite a bit more.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet him in the morning. He said they'd go ahead and get it done if the rain, I don't know about the rain is. He told me to,
Excuse me, you're talking about a 2-hour period that somebody will have to be out there for?
No, sir, no, sir. What is going to happen is, right now, and I don't know how long this will last, I don't know if it'll last a month, a semester, or a year.
Right.
But the kids that drive, that come to the high school, will be released at 1 o'clock. So you're looking at an influx of students going out then. I don't think that's gonna be an issue, because you're not gonna have that mix with the buses. But when you mix the buses with the pickups
Oh, yeah.
that's gonna be coming to pick their kids up, then that's where,
And that's the problem, because my daughter has never rode a bus unless it's a field trip.
yeah.
You know, my wife is adamant about taking the kids and picking up the kids, and it creates all that congestion, you know. So,
And I've spoken to the school, board, members prior, and there was some changes up there that was made with VDOT, and then they realized that it wasn't gonna work, and they changed it back. There's,
Right.
it's just a finicky, place right there as far as traffic control. You know, you guys have always taken care of it during ball games, it's great, it works out great, but you don't have those buses to deal with.
that's right.
So, me speaking on behalf of myself, representing the town of Richlands, whatever you guys need,
Right.
if we can do it, we'll be more than happy to help you.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you that we cannot have a dedicated person there every day to work traffic.
well, maybe we'll get together and try to work
Yeah.
on something.
Yeah.
Cause I guess it's gonna be touch and feel. I mean, we don't really know how it's gonna go.
No, you don't.
Because I'll be honest with you, as far as I talked to Miss Brown up here, about 40% of the students have already just not coming. They're doing
Right.
Chromebook. So I mean, that's gonna eliminate.
It would be even
40%
more
of
than
your
that.
traffic.
It'd be even more than that if Tazewell County had a bigger base in broadband.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't think schools are gonna be as crowded as what they think.
That's true, and
Yeah.
hopefully, but eventually we're gonna get through this. And so-
right.
Of course, it's the council's decision. All I'm saying is
Yeah.
maybe we can see how first couple of weeks work. And
Okay.
we'll all get together and see if we can work something
Whatever
out.
we can do is, like I said, as far as I'm concerned with the town of representing, I'm representing myself at the school on one thing with the crosswalks and
That's
the
right.
other thing with the town.
That's right.
So if you want, you know, as far as help with the
Right.
with the traffic control, we'll have to sit down and talk about it.
Yeah, that's what.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Mike Brown. Richard, we'll be done by the time yours gets started.
Well, if you want to turn TV on, it might be interesting.
Turn mine on.
Jerry's already told me it's gonna be interesting on their end.
That's it, chief.
I said Jerry's already told me it's gonna be pretty interesting on their end.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand over here so I can take this silly mask off. I hate wearing these things. One of the things I want to talk about was and there should be a copy over there by the door. I think Mr. Sword picked one up here. New legislation come down July 1st considering the wearing and use of body camera systems. According to that legislation, I have to present my policy for public comment and public review. Yeah, I believe I sent you one. I gave you another one. I put one on everybody's notebook there. Basically, with the body cameras, we wear them every day. My guys are required to use them on all traffic stops. Same time, we'll take enforcement action. That body cameras, that footage, if it's evidentiary value, is stored for 2 years now. Future legislation is wanting to change that to 5 years, which is going to take a ton of storage because they're wanting every contact recorded. If the body camera footage is deemed evidentiary value, we store it here locally. I said, really, we're looking at upgrading our system to a newer system because of the storage, because of pending legislation on storage of it. I'm open to any questions. If anyone wants to look over the policy or just have a question in general, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to talk about. Kind of hard to explain, but easy to talk about. If anybody looks over that, feel free to give me a call here at the office anytime if you have any questions or anything regarding that. Secondly, I know Mr. Brown brought up about a dedicated person up there at the school. I can't do it. I mean, I cannot guarantee I can have somebody there every single day. Terry Stevenson is kind enough to help us out doing that traffic, relieves it off of us. I just can't guarantee Terry's gonna be there every day, and I can't guarantee I'm gonna have an officer to be there every day. This dog and pony show out here we've got every morning, it takes 2 officers to do that. It takes 2 in the evenings. You know, at best, I've got 2 people on duty. But if nobody has any questions on the body cam footage or any recommendations or.
Do you have to do the 5 years?
That's gonna be judged on, I think that's being voted for on August the 18th along with all the other.
If you could go into that, Chief, about what the governor of Virginia is wanting to bring the legislators back for.
Basically, on August the 18th, the governor's bringing the legislators back. It's called the Police Reform Act. Some of the high notes, the stuff that's publicized, they want to take the SROs out of schools.
No more school resource
Yeah,
officers.
they want to take the SROs out of schools. Their big thing is defunding the police. Being a local agency, we've got a little bit of protection. I have you guys between me and the governor. You guys give me my budget. Town gives me my budget, so he really can't. He doesn't control my purse strings like he does bigger agencies, state police, sheriff's office. But one thing he does control is grant money, 599 money. You know, which.
And that's what we're paying for with these body cameras,
Yeah,
is
it is my
$599.
599 funds are paying for that. They were paying my part-timer salary for a little while. You know, that's a lot of the upgrades of equipment we've got. It's not coming from the town's budget. A lot of that is coming from my 599 money, which is money used to augment my budget. So, you know, like the cruisers, the new marking on the cruisers, a little bit of the PD, you know, that was no taxpayer expense in any of that. That was all 599 money. Well, taxpayer expense in a way, but no taxes paid directly to the town. A lot doing away with a lot of less than lethal. Like I said, it's a whole menage of stuff that he's proposing. The biggest ones that would affect my agency directly would be the defunding with 599 funds, holding that up, and doing away with the SRO positions.
And pepper spray.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
less than lethal.
Yeah.
Sheesh, that's crazy.
Well, they want to take all that away except in a civil unrest. Okay, well, if I've got a taser or I've got pepper spray ahead of time, that could prevent civil unrest. But you know, like I said, all that's on August the 18th. Hopefully the morning of the 19th, I'll get a big email from the Chief Police Association and tell me what passed, what didn't pass. I know Doug Wimper sent out a letter. I think it's been shared on Facebook several times. I know I shared it on my page, my personal page, not the police department's page. The way that was explained to me, that's the things they think they've got a chance of cutting off. You know, some of it, probably a lot of it's going to be tabled until the next legislative session. But the big ones, you know, the defund the police, that's the biggest movement now. You know, I don't see a lot of it being tabled. Some of it will be, but not all of it.
Scary times.
Wow, that's crazy. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
I've got the ordinance for the adoption of the body cam policy.
Go ahead and read it, Mr. Carmen, you're the attorney.
Well, I'll tell you what I'd like to do is just read the first part of it and then see if there's somebody that would like to make a motion to waive the reading.
Okay.
Okay.
I wanted to hear you read it all. I'm kidding.
It'll take a while, I'll tell you. You saw how many pages that is Chief brought in here.
Go ahead.
Okay, it says, be it ordained by the council of the town of Cedar Bluff, Virginia, that chapter 2, article 4, division 3 of the code of the town be adopted as follows. Section 2-34, police body camera use policy.
Yes.
I make a motion. We go to second reading,
No, this is the first reading.
first reading, and make
then
it
we'll just-
active.
No, we'll just take it up again next month because we want to let everybody have an opportunity to see the policy and comment on it.
That was
before
second.
it's adopted next month.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay?
So thank
You have
you for
anything?
that.
You will.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
the audit, Tamara Greer, I spoke with her today. She has had the coronavirus. So she was going to be here today to give her audit report of the town's financials. She said hopefully September 15th she'll be here for our next meeting. So,
Okay. Next is public comment. Anyone? 3 minutes, Tim, please.
Jim Altizer, 205 Old Kentucky Turnpike. I recently made a FOIA request to the town that included a request for a copy of the 2013 real estate tax ticket for Kenneth and Deborah Shepherd. I was told that I could obtain a copy of that document, but everything would be redacted except for the assessed value of that property. Code section 2.23705.1 and 2.23801 were cited as the reasons for those redactions. The first problem is the code section you gave to justify keeping this information from me is no longer valid in Virginia. The personal information exemption cited has been removed from 2.23705.1 and is now a personal contact information exemption. I'm not asking to access any of Mr. Shepherd's contact information. The definition of personal information contained in 2.23801 is now moot, since that reference has now been totally deleted from 2.23705.1. Secondly, I'm requesting no more information from this town about Mr. Shepherd than was provided to Mr. Herring regarding my own real estate tax information. Some of you will remember him waving around papers saying that he supposedly had proof that my taxes were paid late with no penalties and interest charged. That tells me he was given access to the payment dates and amounts paid related to my real estate tax. I ask for no more information than that about Mr. Shepherd. A councilman in this town is allowed no more access to town documents than any other citizen of the state of Virginia, including me. If Mr. Herring can obtain my tax information, then why am I not entitled to access Mr. Shepherd's tax information? Not only did Mr. Herring comment on and wave my tax information around, but several of you included that information in a letter sent out prior to the 2018 general election. You put out a private citizen's information like it was candy at a Christmas parade, but you used old, archaic law to prevent me from obtaining a current councilman's tax payment information. Why is that? What would that tax ticket show? I can tell you what it would show, because I obtained a list of the delinquent taxes in 2013 through a previous FOIA request. It would show that he had not paid his real estate taxes for 10 years prior to 2013, but nonetheless he voted in 2011 and 2013 to raise water, sewer, and garbage rates for everyone else in this town. I renew my FOIA request for Kenneth and Deborah Shepherd's 2013 real estate tax ticket. If that request is to again be denied, then I ask that you use current law to do so. And then I ask, if it is denied, then I ask for payment dates and amount paid for years 2004 through 2014. I ask for no more information about Mr. Shepherd than was given to Mr. Herring about me. I ask for nothing more, but I expect nothing less.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you.
I'm gonna make a vote.
Mr. Altizer, I just gave you what Mr. Carmody gave me.
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
I have a copy of the, can I,
Yeah.
or you want to let him go, Mr. Mayor? It's up to
My name's Kenneth Shepherd, 710 Middle Creek Road, Cedar Bluff, Virginia. in rebuttal to what Mr. Altizer said, I probably did owe some taxes. But I can assure him now, I don't owe the town of Cedar Bluff no taxes. Period. And that, if that's the information he wants, and as far as Deborah goes, he can leave her out of it. She's deceased.
Any more public comments?
Mr.
I just
Oh,
have
yeah,
a,
go ahead. You
I
got
just have
John
a
on
copy
there.
of,
I can't hear you.
I just have a
I think
copy.
I just answered his question. I don't think he needs any documents.
Go ahead.
I don't think anybody answered my question. You leave my wife all this stuff, I'll leave yours out. Okay, I just would like to give Mr. Carmody a copy of where that code section was changed. If you remember. Mr. Mayor, that's where it was changed in 2017, and the law that was provided to me is no longer applicable. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any more public comments? Do you have anything? Oh, I'm sorry. Get up here.
That's all right.
You don't, if you don't want to come up, you don't have to. You can speak from right there.
Okay,
Go
let's
ahead.
say 109 Singleton Lane. I talked with R.J. Robson today. She is with the tourism for the county. And R.J. Was talking about our town getting a rally grant. And this is a community project.
I was gonna bring- I was
John, do
gonna
you
bring-
want to talk to him about it?
Well, no, you go right ahead. I was gonna bring it up in my manager's report, but you go right ahead. That's good. No, you do it. Seriously.
Go ahead.
Well, this is all I know. It's a community project, and it will benefit our community as far as people participating. And anyway, I've talked to John about the Virginia love sign that we had for a short time, and then we had a form, and something happened to this form. We don't know what happened to it, do we, John?
No, we
But
don't.
anyway, she, I think, can help us maybe to where we can have that in the town, and maybe as a community, we can all get together and we can maybe do this, you know.
Absolutely.
for
Who is the, I know the college bought the old
me.
mill. Who is the lady that's gonna be running that for the
I don't know.
Romero, what?
Sarah Romano. Yeah.
Romeo.
Yeah, Romeo.
Sarah Romeo. Okay.
She runs the one over here at the college.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
She's gonna be here now in Cedar Bluff, yeah.
So anyway, we've got this community project, so we're hoping that as a community, we can get together and maybe we can get some things, you know, things can happen. I'd also like to address, and my husband, I know, would appreciate me mentioning this, because I mentioned it to him, I don't know how many times. He has sprayed the weeds in front of our business and up the street and down the street. But still, up the street, and I think with all these parents and grandparents coming here for
Right.
school, is there any way that we can get rid of these weeds on the sidewalk?
Absolutely. Well,
We've talked about that too, but I mean, it'll.
We gotta have
That comes up fast, doesn't it?
what happens is really, we gotta get Terry, Robert, Mitch, Rick, one of the four certified, because just to spray pest killer, you gotta be certified in a municipality through the town.
Yeah,
So none of us is licensed. I'm not even licensed. So say I was up there spraying weeds and a certain person came by, the town could get fined heavily.
You can do it personally on the weekend, John, I'll do it.
Huh?
You can do it on my own time on the weekend, I just found out today, they can't say nothing when I do it personally. As long
Yeah.
as I'm not employed.
You can't do it during work hours, basically, is what he's saying. So you can do it after the 8 hours or on weekends. And I don't have a problem with that one bit, Linda. I agree
I
with
just
that.
hate to see our pretty flowers in the containers and weeds growing up and down the street.
Right,
I think
right.
it looks bad, you know,
I
it
agree.
makes us all look bad.
Well, if you don't kill them as well, it'll break those concrete sidewalks. Those weeds will.
What have we done in the past?
We cut them out with the weed eater and then the next week they're back.
Right.
We used to spray them and that guy come in there with that badge and throwed it out on me and told me I couldn't spray it before. Okay, go ahead.
What they do in other towns, you know?
They probably are licensed to spray
Yeah.
and
Okay.
Myself as a private citizen, could I, volunteer to, buy the Roundup myself so it wouldn't come from the town and spray it myself? Is there an ordinance against that?
I don't think there is, are there, Terry?
No, it's just, an employee can't do it.
Right, yeah, I know. It's just like with the state, the state you have to be, licensed, you have to be certified, you have to be, with everything, there's so many loopholes. But myself as a private citizen, I'd be willing to do that.
I don't know if you could do it or not. I don't know if I would want to, because with all the cancers and these sprays and all that, I mean, honestly, I don't spray it, John.
Yeah.
I don't. I use vinegar and water and bleach.
Well, try to.
Well, that was my thing, I was gonna use
I'm
vinegar.
just saying, I like you, you're a
Yeah.
great guy,
Yeah.
but somebody gets something against you, they're gonna throw it up and say, hey man,
Oh, yeah.
my wife got cancer because you sprayed in front of her house all the time.
He
You know what I'm
got, he
saying?
got the water.
That's the thing I was concerned about.
Because Brian stayed there, and he went and got certified, you gotta go to college, I mean, it's a class.
But here's-
you can't just spray wherever you think you can spray.
What we did, just because of Lee playing devil's advocate, and I agree with Lee, we went and bought a brand new pump sprayer from Farm Bureau, paid about $150 for it, hooked it on the back of our side by side, did we not, Terry?
We did, but.
And I bought 200 pounds of salt, because if you get your texture right with your salt water, and mix it with water, of course, like table salt, but we bought it from Farm Bureau, if you get your mixture right, you can kill those plants, and it don't hurt anything. Well, I had Mitch and Robert, we sprayed 200 pounds of salt, did we not?
Yeah, we should have used Epsom salt though.
Yeah.
That would have done it.
And it didn't kill nothing. We spent all that money, bought that sprayer, and we was wanting to spray all the way from the park there and behind the furniture store all the way to the red lights on the guardrail there where it looks awful.
Yeah.
It didn't kill nothing, did it, Terry?
Yeah, without somebody certified, I don't know if I'd do it, really.
Well, let me say something about it. When I helped plant the flowers,
Yes.
I know where the worst weeds are. It's just across from the bank, the street that cuts between the bank and the house on the corner. I pulled a lot of those weeds up out of the sidewalk. You can do that. You've got a knife or something, you can get in there and get the root out. That might be the safest way to do it. It might take all day to do it, but if everybody was with 2 or 3 people, and I'd be happy to come and meet with 2 or 3 other people, and we just go along the sidewalk there and cut them out. That might be the easiest way and the safest way, because as Lee said, when Brian said that, I thought about the responsibility that he might incur because of what he did. I mean, it's like Lee said, people will sue you for anything.
Here's all I'm
They
saying,
might
I
not
would
like
come
it.
down here, I'm
Sue,
sorry.
sue the town too.
I'd come down here and help you with the weed eater, but if we hit a car riding by with a rock,
That's the thing,
who's gonna sit? I mean, I'm just saying, it's tough. It's tough, it's a tough battle, and I agree, 100%. I want the town to look awesome, but, I mean, I don't know about y'all, I can't keep my yard work up. Seems like the day I'm gonna mow it and pours rain, but gardens are good, and even, I talked to York, his hemp farm, I mean, he said we're de-weeding it every 4 days. He said it's getting crazy, but if there's any way we can help, I'd love to help. I mean, I don't know if you can volunteer like that. I'm being honest with you. I didn't even know you had to have a license to spray till one of my employees said, he got sued over it. He was spraying his own farm, sent his beef off, and they got that certain pesticide in that beef, and he lost everything he had. I mean, as far as all his beef, his cattle, everything. But I don't know. I could ask him.
Thank you.
And honestly, he would volunteer to do it for us, wouldn't he, John?
Yeah,
He's just a
absolutely.
nice guy. I mean, he wouldn't charge us a penny, and if he did, I'd pay for it, I promise. But I'd be more comfortable if he did it. Even if I guess we could probably show him his contract labor, even if we said we was gonna pay him $10 and he wrote a check back to the town. I mean, I don't know how we could do it, but I'm sure we could figure out a way. For sure. And I apologize. I just didn't pay much attention, too much. Seems like with this COVID, it's like terrible. Is that all you had, Miss Singleton? John, did you want to talk about any of that? We'll move on, your next town manager's report.
Lee, I have one more thing before.
Yeah.
You'll
Go
move
right
on
ahead.
before public comment. This past week, I started, volunteering picking up trash, along the highway. Does the town have signage for like litter pickup?
Do we, guys?
I got one sign.
Just one? Okay,
Yeah.
cause from the furniture store up to, you know, the trash dump, that's like Indianapolis 500 through there. I didn't understand it, but whoever mows that, God be with them when they're on the lawnmower.
See, the cops is only got
Believe
one
me.
place to park, and I mean, once you get outside, they done it. I mean, that's-
Yes,
Well, then you got the speed limit too, even through here, it's 35 miles an hour through town.
Yeah, that's fine.
I've never, till I come here, I know I've never seen that. Usually residential's 25.
Yeah, it's fine.
Say it's 35 from the top of the lights all the way over to Richlands.
Wow.
Mr. Stewart, we've got some
Fast.
tests.
yeah, I was out with I have a vest from work and stuff, and
But we don't mind, I guess, Terry, we don't care if he borrows your sign.
that was my question, was could I borrow the sign,
Oh,
cause we have them
okay.
from work, but I can't use it from there. So.
Yeah, if you need some comments, I got comments. I probably need to help you. If you pay-
Oh, no, I mean, you know, at a staycation during, you know, all this COVID stuff, so why not just go and pick up trash? You know?
There you go.
So,
I mind working with you, boys. If that's all on public comment, I'll let John go ahead and grab the town's manager's report.
Okay, of course, we've discussed the crossing guard. Is there any action tonight, or do we want to table it as a board? I put that on the top priority just because I know when I was in high school, like I said, Joelle Bowling was pulling out from the high school, Randy Bowling's daughter, and she got T-boned and broke her hip. Remember that, Linda, how bad that was? I mean, that's been 25 years ago, but, you know, I know that there was concern about that. I know, I was talking about with Sergeant Lark, and Sergeant Lark said, you know, the only problem he sees with the town of Richlands doing that is the roads in the town of Cedar Bluff. So,
I can't believe we told them not to do it. We
Well,
won't.
I've got a copy.
I mean, I'm not saying, that's probably the reason. I'm not picking on him. It just shocks me we wouldn't want to
Well,
help.
I've got a copy of the letter, I'll let you
Mutual
read it.
Mute that point.
Huh?
Mutual aid would make a difference if it's in Cedar Bluff. I mean, we've got a mutual aid agreement.
Well, if it's our property, can it still be no trespassing? Is that what he was?
No, I mean, there's a reason not to do it.
there's a mutual aid
Yeah,
agreement
we-
right now.
Oh, there is one.
Yeah.
I do a mutual aid agreement with Richlands.
It wouldn't be prohibited.
But I kinda get it. It's like, hey, they got 20 employees and then they've got 20 grounds workers, you know, we're sacrificing one. It'd be awesome if we do mornings, they do evenings, or do something. Which that's all on y'all anyway.
does the mutual aid agreement require that there has to be an officer from Cedar Bluff there to be aided by the other jurisdiction?
We have to request the aid.
I
That's
understand.
what mutual aid is. It doesn't,
Does Cedar Bluff have to be present?
no, I mean, not the way I read and understand it. You know, it's like with, ball game traffic. You know, they request our assistance during ball game traffic. And once again, it's still a new point, that's the roads in our area. But, you know, my guys aren't responsible for ball game traffic. That's a Richlands school function. That's nothing to do with my guys. So, you know, they ask us to do ball game traffic, and we do. A lot of it goes back to whatever happened 10 or 15 years ago, when somebody got butt hurt over the letter. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said butt hurt. They got offended by the letter. That's why, you know, Mr. Brown was right. I have called and asked him, and one time they did do it, and other times I was told flat out no. We brought this point up last year, and it was Richlands Town Council who shot it down about putting their officer out there, mainly because that letter that was sent, I guess, what, 10, 12 years ago, Dan? 10 or 12 years ago.
I don't recall what the reason behind the letter was anymore.
What was
I mean,
behind
I
the
can tell you
letter
what
at
I've heard.
that time was Richlands wanted to incorporate Cedar Bluff. Mayor Wise, of course, I was the mayor here then. Mayor Weiser, we had a meeting with our council, Richlands Council, the supervisors of Tazewell County, and they said they would want to take that land away from Cedar Bluff. And I was the one made the statement, we might give it to you, but you're not taking nothing.
I wasn't on the board
That
then.
was when we were having a big debate. Now, what Mr. McLaughlin and I decided, and, what we decided then, anything that we turned over to Richlands, give them more authority, with the people of Richlands to have a bigger pool with Cedar Bluff. So Jim McLaughlin was trying to keep everything away that showed, and of course, we had a big debate over that whole section there being given to Richlands, where the Gateway Shopping Center is and all, when the Cedar Bluff town limit sign is on down the road on the left side. And, we got in debate with some of the supervisors, and I go in more detail on that. But anyway, they turned that over to Richlands. And we decided not to let Richlands have anything that looked like they were in Cedar Bluff. It looked like they were taking over. And I still feel like, if you're looking for the future, somewhere down the road, somebody's going to want to incorporate Cedar Bluff, Richlands, and Claypool Hills. It goes on ever so often. And the more you see of one town in our town, the more it looks like that town is taking authority over our town. And so it does make quite a awkward position with, if Richlands comes up here and does our traffic, and then later on you told them you wanted and you couldn't, then you got a big view. Well, they've been doing it for 5 years, 3 years, whatever, and they've got a big toehold there. And what caused the whole thing was, and I didn't feel like at that time, and still don't, when I was a mayor, when Mayor Weiser used the term in front of all of our lawyers and all the council and all the supervisors, that they'd take our town. I didn't believe it then, I don't believe it now. But that's kind of clarified a lot of it up for you. But I was in the middle of that. And that would be like Richlands now asking one of us to come in the middle of Richlands and start doing anything, plant flowers, pick up garbage, do anything. Well, somebody's going to assume we're a part of Richlands now, you know. And then when you get fighting over corporation limits, it causes quite a dispute. And I think that is in the makings of coming up again in the next few years anyway. But that's really what happened there. You remember now, Mr. Carmen, any of that?
Well, I remember that. I didn't know if there was some other reason besides that.
Well, that was what it was, and I remember I was the one spoke up and said, you know.
You have the letter,
You couldn't take much away.
I'd have to find about the other
Oh,
copy.
never mind, get it for us next
I
time.
will.
What else you got, John?
So we're gonna table that on the crossing guard for now?
I mean, does Richlands having an open meeting, or are they all on?
They're having an open meeting tonight.
I'll go down there and just ask them up front tonight if y'all want me to. I mean, or not, one of y'all can go. I mean, I don't mind either way, but I
Well,
want
I
to figure
just-
it out.
I'd rather handle it behind the scenes because it makes it sound desperate if you go on an open meeting.
Well, that's what he did.
But he was coming about the crosswalks. He didn't come for the crossing guard. It sort of got sprung on him after he was here.
That's like, y'all figured it out. I was just an offer.
Well, as far as my part, I don't have no part doing it, no problem doing it. I don't take an hour and a half for lunch. It's usually 45 minutes. You can ask John. But you can ask Mike. That's no lay on the beach thing to do, is it, Mike?
Oh, no, sir.
I mean, it's no fun in it. That's not a fun thing to do out there when it's 20 degrees, pouring down rain. That's fun. Yeah, it's fun.
Freezing in the winter.
Yeah, and you're having to worry about if a kid's gonna run out in front of a car. But the point of it was when I was to do it, I was to take an extra 30 minutes. I don't take my lunch at 12 o'clock. I might take it at 12:30, I might take it at 1, but it's usually anywhere from 45 minutes, about that. And you can ask John, I'm usually back by that time.
Our lunches here fluctuate. I mean, I don't ever take, sometimes I'll take it at 11:30, sometimes I'll take it at 1:30. It just depends on how busy you are.
Sometimes you already.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
But now that right there, you can ask Mike. If they told Mike he'd never direct traffic out here again, that wouldn't hurt his feelings. If they tell me you'll never be out there and direct traffic again, that don't hurt my feelings. I mean, that's no big deal. That was to help out. That wasn't to make yourself look big. Oh God, that's a good job. That's nothing funny in that.
So you just, we don't pay, you just take extra time.
Well, he gets, where he goes, say, his work don't start till 8, he'll get there at 7:30 in the morning, he's supposed to get 30 minutes extra lunch. Jim made the deal with him. Then he gets instead of 30-minute lunch, he gets an hour lunch, because Jim was not into paying overtime. He was all about comp time. And the comp time was that, you know, if it's 30 minutes, and then sometimes he would even go as far as to say, where he does it in the afternoon, if it runs, but in the afternoon is not a problem, because he's finished before 4:30. But he'd always give you the hour lunch, wouldn't he, Terry, just in case, because Jim didn't want to pay overtime, didn't he, Terry?
No, no.
I mean, he was anti-overtime.
Huh?
That's how they did it.
So we don't know if it's against the law or not.
That's how they did it.
That's good enough for me. I'll ask my brother-in-law. You might have been doing it for, it might have made you do it, and that might be a lawsuit. I don't know if you're allowed to just time like that off the government. I'll find out.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
If Mr. Stevenson is working 30 minutes considered overtime and it's being gave as comp time, by federal labor laws, he needs to be given 45 minutes, time and a half.
Right.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I figured out was salary.
Mr. Stevenson pays salary.
I wouldn't say nothing about it, because like last week I was called out 3 times, 2 trees, one of them 3 hours and one of them a couple hours. Water, Old Kentucky blocking Old Kentucky out. But ask John, did I say anything about it? No.
We had a major tree fall there at Rick Sawyer's house. This thing was about 10 feet
I was gonna
thick.
call Terry.
Yeah.
Then we had another one about 8 feet thick on Edgewater Drive. And then we had floodwaters rise. I mean, you know, that's the thing about Terry. He's always out and about and setting cones out on Old Kentucky Turnpike. And,
I mean, is there a problem? I mean, why are you talking about it?
The point of it was taking too much time for lunch. And I don't. I mean,
Well, if you get 30 minutes, you're supposed to get 30 minutes, I guess.
well, Tim, it don't matter, comp time don't matter if you're salary or not, does it, Tim?
There's certain rules. You can get comp time even as a salaried employee. It just depends upon
Just
the.
call it out, Lee Ann does.
I knew you would know the labor laws, so
Whether
that's the reason I was
whether
asking.
you're considered an exempt employee or non-exempt employee, and there's various laws depending upon the number of people you supervise.
I didn't
And I don't know Mr. Stevenson's particular, I'd be glad to sit down and talk to you, and I can certainly give you a number to clear that up.
Yeah.
But if he's not supervising 2 or more people, he's certainly entitled to comp time.
Okay.
So what y'all gonna do?
Let's just, I'd say table it down, don't you, Mr. Shepherd? But do y'all wanna take action on it tonight? What do y'all think? What do you think, Mr.?
They're asking for us to give 2 hours of an employee out there to traffic.
Yeah. It usually, if you start at 7:30 in the morning, Terry, when does it usually?
8:30.
So
30
He was talking about 1 o'clock when they leave too.
Well, this year.
this year,
They're kicking school off early.
I spoke to the principal over here at Cedar Bluff Elementary, and the way Rich was explaining it, it's set up at separate times. You know, hours, the parents are picking kids up and pick them up at 1 o'clock. But they're doing tutoring from 1 to 3. So basically out here, we'll be doing school traffic twice. One at 1 o'clock when everybody's leaving in the buses, and then again at 3 o'clock, the parents will pick their kids up because their kids are stuck in tutoring. Like I said, it's gonna be
Out there, if you get the buses out, you're in pretty good shape.
yeah, well, when I do it, once I get the buses out, I'll leave out there. I
Yeah,
mean,
if you get the buses out, you're gone. I mean,
that's gonna
Here's the thing, you know, the road is in the town of Cedar Bluff. So, I mean, you know, and of course, to speak freely and just to be honest with you all, the sheriff's department would have did it maybe for us last year because they had a school resource officer at one of those town Richlands schools, but there was a little bit of a rift between Richlands and the county, and Richlands sort of flexed their muscles, and you know, the sheriff's department don't have a officer at one of those 3 schools now as a school resource officer. So now the town of Richlands has all the resource officers at all 3 schools. So I know, you know, I don't want to speak and say I know, but you know, I feel that the sheriff's department says, hey, if we can't even be down there and have an officer down there as a school resource officer, why would we want to direct traffic when that road is in the town of Cedar Bluff? You see what I'm saying? So I know that's probably out the window with the sheriff's department. And Mr. Smith's on his head, he's agreeing with me. So obviously it stems back to maybe some, like you said, Mr. Smith, with you and Mr. Mayor Weiser.
Well, see, some of that, back when we was having such a debate over that thing, and of course we brought that up, but right now that bank's sitting up there, it hadn't been changed, and I think it hadn't. If you get a bank robbery, if they go through the front door, Cedar Bluff has to ride it. If they go through the back door, the county has to ride it.
Right.
If they go through the side door towards Gateway, Richlands has to take care of it. So if the bank gets robbed, it depends on which door they went in as to which department needs to, they made a mess out of that.
It's crazy.
And it was all over personal little grudges and little remarks. And,
right.
And at that time, I felt it and still do. They pushed us further than we ought to been pushed. And after you push a button so long, you quit pushing the button. That's it.
You kick it out so long.
And they made a mess out of it. You got out there now, right now, in three different police departments is going to have to really, if they've done that justice, are going to have to be sitting out there in case of a bank robbery. And then debate on who takes care of this. Well, the supervisor made a big mistake on that.
No. Well, just for the record, I wasn't on the board then. That was my predecessor. So, anyways, I wasn't part of that. I'm not mentioning his name because, all in all, I think he's a pretty good guy. I like him. But, you know, it wasn't me. So, moving forward, I advertised with the Voice newspaper for asphalt bids for College Hill Road. September the 10th is when I did the cutoff. So I talked to Lenny Hackworth and sent her an email over. If they want, when they call here, if they will get up with me or Mr. Stevenson, we'll show them what we want paved on College Hill Road, and then they can submit a bid as long as they have them turned in by September 10th. That way we're legal.
We did patch it.
We patched some holes, but we're actually going to put some asphalt down. I've been trying for a grant through the Thompsonville Foundation, us as a council. We've been talking about Miss Singleton, and you tell me what you think. Maybe painting the town hall white. I think it would look beautiful because it's got that big historical brick look on it. It would sort of separate us from the school. And A.J. Robinson's the one that actually steered me in the direction to get up with Miss Black is her name. I can't remember her first name, but anyways, their cutoffs for the grant is August 15th. So we're trying to get it wrote up and get all the bids in. Of course, the rally grant you already mentioned. She said, I spoke with AJ as well, but she said that, what did you say the lady's name was again? Romeo would help us with the rally grant here for the town on getting it wrote up because she's going to be here anyways with college.
Yeah.
So, and she'll work with her because she's worked closely with her. And of course, Mr. Mayor, you know her well, so she does good, don't she, Lee? And then, the COVID-19 issue, the problem with the COVID-19 is there's a couple things here. The CARES Act, I was on a phone conference with all the town managers, several elected officials, and Eric Young, the couple board of supervisor members. The Tazewell County is going to receive another $3.5 million at the end of the year. So, of course, they've received their first $3.5 million. Of course, they distributed the checks. You've seen some pictures in the paper and all that. But what they're wanting to do now is, and I totally agree with it, they want to take $2 million of the $3.5 million and send it for a match with the Cumberland Plateau Board and try to knock out the 4 counties, you know, Dingston County, Russell County, Buchanan County, and Tazewell County. That's the 4 counties here in the southwest through the CPPD, the Cumberland Plateau District, and to finish up the broadband network. See, Tazewell County is only about 50% occupied on their broadband. Right now, if there was more, they could probably do homeschooling, wouldn't be no problem. But only 50% of Tazewell County is online. So that's the reason they're going to have to do this split shift with the schools and all that. So they feel like, you know, Jim Baldwin at the Cumberland Plateau and Eric Young, all of them, they feel like they can get that done with that. So we all voted in agreement to do that. I feel like that's vital for our area to have internet and access to the web. And not only that, we was told that the health department was going around and inspecting municipalities. Of course, even though we've got Rick and Terry to build that front screen there, the plexiglass screen in front of Missy Station there, to keep germs out and all that, you're supposed to have a sanitizer station. Everybody's got to have a mask on, all this. What we elected to do, and it was by several council members agreed with this, that just go ahead and shut the town hall down again, because they feel like the second wave is going to be worse than the first wave. And we didn't want to get a $130,000 fine like the municipality did out in Central or Northern Virginia, Terry? Northern Virginia. So they're going around checking just to make sure that you're set up and all that. And I'm bad not to wear a mask. Just because they make me suffocate. I'm fat and I don't like to feel restricted, and I usually just stay in my office, and they make me feel like an elephant sitting on me. I gotta breathe. I gotta feel like I'm breathing. I feel like I'm suffocating. So that's the reason we closed the town hall down again. I didn't want to close it down, but the town of Richlands, they never opened up. They've been closed down this entire time. The town hall at Richlands, they're still not open. They've never opened up. See, we actually opened up because, you know, I love people and them coming in and talking and seeing what's going on, but we decided just best for the town at this time to close back down. I was going to see, there's, something else here. Mike Brown, chief here, he's got an officer on standby. We've got several auxiliary officers on standby that have they're here, they're hired here, but they're non-pay officers. Just to have the proper coverage, he would like to hire an additional officer of 16 hours a week. He has an officer in mind, but just to see how, you know, what kind of legislation the governor is going to pass August 18th. We're going to put that on hold, but he does have an officer that's getting ready to retire from a different agency. And that will be coming up, if all goes well, August 18th, 19th, whenever they final up the vote tally in Richmond to see where we stand. And the great thing about this is the 16 hours, hopefully we could probably pay that officer totally out of 599 funds. But we do know the 599 funds are going to be on the ballot pretty much August 18th. So we're sort of, you know, just playing it by ear. We haven't made no decision on hiring this other officer part-time.
599, it's indirectly on the ballot. It's not.
Right.
They're not voting strictly on that, but it's indirectly.
Right. So, with that being said, that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
Town report. Let's see, the water report for July. Rick's flushed the main sewer line on Middle Creek Road. All the samples that he took were good. All meters were read on time. He tied 7 water service connections on Shannon Heights. Tied the main line on Shannon Heights, which completes that project. He flushed water mains in various places throughout the system.
Fire department had 5 monthly meetings, 3 calls during the month, total hours of meeting and training and other were 72, total hours on call 16.
Police department responded to 53 calls. They worked 3 accidents. They made 5 arrests. They had 53 traffic stops. They had 53 traffic stops. And they summoned, they had issued, or they did issue 38 tickets. Drove 4,083 miles, and I said they issued 38 summons, is what they issued, but they issued 1 ticket. And then they assisted other jurisdictions twice, and issued 7 warning tickets.
Council concerns? John? Terry? Got anything?
Right now.
Anybody else? That's it. Have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Terry, got a second?
Who
Jerry?
seconded that?
Jerry, all in favor?
Aye.
Terry?
Yeah.
Thanks. All right, thank y'all. 7:32.
You better be sure they don't have it. You better be sure they don't have it robbed on that place.
I'm gonna rob from the left side, run out the
It'll
right
look
side.
it'll look like a zoo down there.
Copy for
Right.